Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing one of my favorite things of all time on my channel, maybe second to creating a new collection, but that is upcycling another quilt. Today we're gonna give new life to this old quilt that I found. It has quite the distress in it. It has definitely been loved and it is time to give it new life. I typically choose to upcycle these quilts as opposed to other products or like fabric or anything like that because these quilts have been loved and truly been used as their original form, if that makes sense. And it means so much that they were appreciated in their original use, but then when they get tossed out, when they've been passed through different families, over time, they're just gonna get distressed, and I just wanna prevent them ending up in the landfill, so upcycling is a great way to do that. With this quilt, we will go through all the plans, I promise, but with this quilt, I really wanna make some tote bags. I'm looking over because I'm looking at the quilt. I wanna make some tote bags. I'm thinking maybe some makeup bags. I'm thinking definitely some weekender tote bags because we have a really large pattern that we're working with. And then anything beyond that, maybe just like some wallets, some pencil cases, some Kindle sleeves, kind of going off with the last quilt that I did. And of course, all of them will be limited edition. This will never come again. They're truly one of a kind and I'll never have a quilt like it again. And I always do my best to use every single scrap of these quilts because they mean so much. And so you'll get to see the whole process of how I work through those scraps. First, we're gonna do like the major tote bags, makeup bags, all those sorts of things. And then once we get into the scraps, I'll show you how I maximize every single piece of that quilt and try and get products out of all of it. This can be a really hard process because this is just my third quilt that I've ever done. I've done 2 more before this and I'll link those in the description if you're interested. But the process is I'm learning. Let me just say, I'm learning throughout the entire process and I'm happy to have you guys join me and learn along or help me out in the comments, like let me know tips and tricks. But these kind of days are my favorite because that's one of my favorite things about my small business is being able to learn, being able to take something that was once so loved and upcycle it into something that even more people can appreciate. And as always, I say this in all my quilting videos, but if you don't enjoy seeing a quilt being cut up and you just don't like that idea, this is not the video for you. That's exactly what we're gonna be doing. And so I have plenty of other videos on my channel where I'm using brand new fabric. You can go ahead and watch one of those. But if you're into that sort of thing, upcycling, taking things out of landfill, this is the video for you. And just learning in general, like we're all learning and that's just part of the process. So let me go ahead and show you the quilt that we're gonna be working with today. So here is the quilt that we're working with today. This, once again, we have a double wedding ring quilt. And this one, as you can tell, is just gorgeous off the bat. Like that's the first thing that I know to mention. It is so beautiful. I love the colors, the blues and the pinks. And I actually really like how the center of those wedding ring, how it's all white. I think that gives a different dimension to the quilt that we haven't had in our past ones. But this is only half of the width here. So it completely unfolds again. So we have a whole ton of quilt to work with. But on certain areas of this quilt, there are holes, there's distress, there's little things here and there that made me decide to choose this quilt, especially our edges. Our edges are very, very frayed here, so we're not gonna be able to use a whole bunch of those. And as you can tell, I mean, this is all open right here. So there's lots of holes and just distress. It's been loved, it's been used, and it's been appreciated for the quilt that it is. And look, like even this, but there's not a whole ton on our actual pieces that we're going to be sewing with besides, I mean, you have the usual little frays like this that are eventually going to turn into holes, so we'll have to patch those, or not patch them, but just sew them back together. I'm trying to find them. There was quite a few. I'm trying to find them here. Here's one of the other holes that I found. This one we'll just have to sew up together. And thankfully, not a lot of this is gonna need patches or anything from like other parts of the quilt. I did watch some videos on how to do that just in case, but this one looks like we'll be able to just sew together the pieces that are already there. But this does have a scalloped edge like all of our other quilts that we've had. And just by the fabrics, like they have a little bit of fading in the color. It truly looks like it has been a used, well-loved quilt. And so I don't feel like I'm taking something so brand new and treasured out of the quilt stash in the world. Like this has been, here's another huge hole that was just popping out. This has been very well loved. There it is right on the top there. So that is always one thing that I keep in mind with these quilts. And this one has clearly had its time as a quilt. So it is time to give it some new life and make it into some brand new bags that so many other people can enjoy. But I just think the colors match my shop perfectly. The greens, the pinks, the blues, those are all my favorites. And especially because it's such a pastel, it is just gorgeous. And just like with my other quilts, I'm not exactly sure how this quilt came about, whether it's 100% handmade, whether it's machine / half made, whether it's all machine made. I don't know. When I take it to my fabric store today, I'm gonna go ahead and ask her, you know, do you think these are hand stitched? Do you think that's machine stitched? Because I just don't have the eye for that yet. I can't quite tell. And so I'm gonna have her look at it because she always gives me really good insight into these quilts and how they're made and maybe the origin of them. So the first step in this process is figuring out our measurements and starting a brand new page in the journal for this brand new little collection. And it looks like from our very first edge down there, I did a little inside the scalloped edge, but from that edge we have about 7 foot and let's call it 2 inches since we have a scalloped edge on this side. So that's about 86 inches that we have to work with. So let's go the other way as well, because the other way I think is longer. All right, then this end we have 7 foot, let's call it probably 7'5". So then that's 85, 86, 87, 80, 89 inches. So we have a lot of fabric to work with. And I'm also gonna go into all of those holes with a needle and thread really quick and just patch up all those holes. This part is like oddly one of the most satisfying parts, is being able to fix it up and, you know, get rid of all those extra frays and holes in the quilt and just make it, you know, give it new life again. And these stitches, I really don't do anything fancy here. I just make a little knot to start and just tighten that really tight. And then I just work my way down, slowly closing that hole and trying to fit all those frays back into the hole too, so we don't have those poking out. And there's our very first one done. I'm just gonna cut off those extra threads and then it'll all be good. And like I told you, nothing fancy, just closing up that hole. If anything, I almost like the little bit of a distressed, you know, sewn in hole. Like, it doesn't look perfect, it doesn't look brand new, and that's not what I'm going for. It shows that it's had love, it's been fixed up, it's been reused as something new. So there's our first one done, let's find another. First thing that I'm gonna do in order to cut this extra, or like all the scalloped edges off, is I'm just gonna fold this in half. And now that it's all folded on itself, I can just go in and start cutting off all of this extra side. And I'm really honestly just gonna eyeball this and just go like little corner to corner on these scalloped edges. Okay, so there's our first edge, and here's our other edge, which this one, you know what, I might just leave this one because I want to cut this length first. So let's do that. All right, now as far as what actual products I'm gonna make and how to cut that quilt, I sat there and I looked at it forever and I tried to do all the calculations in the world for all my different products, and I can't figure out what I wanna make. So I did an Instagram poll and it's running right now. I just started it, and y'all, it's almost even before the very first one, and then the second one is all mini makeup bags. So for the first poll I did weekender tote bags, mini tote bags, keychain wallets, and makeup bags, and you can only choose one. And so far, all of those are even. And then the second one is kindled book sleeves, pencil cases, laptop sleeves, mini makeup bags. And mini makeup bags is winning by a long shot. Yeah, it just updated, it got 5 more votes. So I don't know, like this initial, I literally posted it 10 minutes ago. So this initial vote is gonna kind of show me what people are thinking, what products they like. And then I think I'm actually gonna go to the store and we're gonna get our fabric for the liners. And if we're gonna do tote bags, we're gonna do straps. But I'm gonna let this poll kind of run for like an hour maybe. I definitely should have done this a lot earlier, but it also gave me insight for like my next quilt, all those sorts of things. So let's go ahead and run to the store, grab some liner. I really need to get a coffee too because I'm like draining. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wake up. So let's go do all that. All right, I just got back from the store and I'll show you everything that I got, but really quick, let's go through the poll and see what our top two are. Since I did two different stories with two like completely different options, let's see what our top ones so far after, let's see how long. So this was about an hour. Our top for the first one is weekender tote bags with 34 votes, and second is makeup bags with 31 votes from our first poll. Then it goes mini tote bags, then keychain wallets. And for our second poll, our top one is mini makeup bags with 39 votes. And then second is Kindle and book sleeves with 29 votes, which I'm really excited about. I really want to do some Kindle and book sleeves because I think this one would look really cute as Kindle and book sleeves. But our top two from one from each poll. The first is weekender tote bags and the second is mini makeup bags. So exactly what I did for my first quilt, but that's good to know. It's good to reference like what people are looking for, and I'm really glad that I did two different polls because you can only select one option from those polls. Like it only gives you one vote. Like you can't vote for multiple things. So that's good to see that people's top things are what I have been making. And maybe it's like there's a correlation there. It's like because they've seen it, they like that. But I also think those are very familiar to me, and I've been doing a lot of weekender totes recently, so I feel comfortable doing them. And I just like them in general. Like they're a great size, they're very sturdy, they're huge, and they're beautiful. So I'm glad that people chose those. And that means that we can get to cutting our quilt and getting the sizes that we need. And I was also gonna write down and figure out all of our dimensions so that I don't have to sit here and be like, wait, what was that size? Wait, let's see this size, because that takes me so long to do. So I'm gonna figure out a way to cut up this quilt. I'm gonna call it 80 by 80. And I know that we have a little bit more than that, but I'm just gonna call it that so that we don't have like an over allocation of the quilt and then we don't have enough outer fabric. So I'm gonna go ahead and figure out all of our little measurements and see how many different products we can fit on here. And I'm gonna try to maybe fit some of the products that people still wanted, even if it wasn't the top one chosen. So like, for example, keychain wallets. I will probably have enough fabric to make like 2 or 3 keychain wallets at least. So I'll probably try and fit those somewhere in the quilt as well. And then I also had a third story that I said, if you have any other ideas, let me know. You can leave them here. And some people mentioned sunglasses case. So we might try to make some sunglasses cases, almost like how my AirPod cases are, where you just slide in your glasses and then you can like snap it at the top. I really want to see if we can fit some of those as well, because we're only going to need one side of the outer fabric, so it's not very much. So anyways, long story short, I'm gonna figure out some measurements and then we'll get to cutting and I'll show you all the different liners that I bought, because I'm so excited. I think they're so cute and they're so different from what I normally do. Can you tell I got a coffee? I'm like talking a million miles an hour. Okay, I'm gonna figure out all these numbers. All right, say what you want about AI, but this just saved me. I just tried to calculate everything and I was losing it pretty much. So I asked AI, I said, I have an 80 by 80 quilt. Give me a way to cut it out with all of these different measurements. And I gave them the measurements to all my different products. And it gave me a full-on how to cut it out, each row, everything like that. So it helped me to like understand visually how I'm supposed to cut this. I'm not gonna use it exactly, but I am gonna kind of go off of it. So I'm gonna do rows. So right now I have it folded in half so that I can easily cut like on itself so that I have a double layer. So this first cut, I'm planning to do weekender tote bags. So this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line up my ruler all the way down and just put little marks using a Sharpie of where I should be cutting. And this cut, let me double check what my measurement should be. If I remember right, this measurement was like 40 or something. This is 36, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. Okay, now this is when I have to start writing. So we have columns that are, what did I say, 44, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. So we're gonna call this 43 inches, and then we have it double. So then I'm gonna figure out which product is gonna fit into that 43 inches the best, and then I'll cut that width of it. So I'm hoping I can figure out weekender totes. Okay, here we go. I have my first number. I'm just gonna draw this out, and here's our first column. So then it looks like after we cut out the weekender totes, I'll have 34 by 80 inches to work with for all my other products. So now I'm just gonna ask AI, like, hey, how can I cut this out? How can I make some makeup bags, some mini tote bags, some Kindle book sleeves, keychain wallets, like all these different things. And then we can figure out how to cut those other 2 strips. But first, we're gonna cut out these 2 weekender strips so that we definitely have at least 4 weekender totes for this collection. Okay, so first, I'm gonna measure all the way from the left side, which hopefully we can use all of, actually maybe a little bit in from the left side. And I'm gonna mark out our first column just with a little Sharpie mark to follow for when we're cutting. And this is really just so that I don't mess anything up. I really don't want to cut this wrong. I feel like too many times on my last quilts I cut it and then I'm like, wait, that wasn't right. Okay, so there's our first mark. Now I'm gonna do that again, but on the other side. So just going based off of my last little mark, I'm gonna line that up, line up the bottom. Maybe have a little bit of room just, you know, for error, because I know I'll need that. Okay, now we can get to cutting these. This always feels wrong. Like, I don't think that this will ever get easier, but we gotta do it. So now these 2 we can just set aside. These ones we can cut on the mat as well so that we can cut them more evenly and get some measurements on them. So I'm just gonna fold these up and set them aside. And now we've got this piece. So this is supposedly 40. At least for my calculations. Let's see if it's actually true. So we have 12, 24, 36. We actually have like a lot more than what I thought. Let me get this selvage out of there. So we have 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. So we got about 42 inches. So let me see what we can do with that. This seriously is the best tool in the world. So I'm gonna go over the amount that it told me to on my little sketch here. I just keep on forgetting how long this actually is. How long is our piece? It's about 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. Okay, 43, I need to remember that. 43. All right, I think I finally figured this out. So we're gonna cut at 17. That's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It's right there. And then 13, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 20. Oh wait, 1, 2, 3. And then we're gonna cut at 7.5. So we have 1, 2, 3 and a half. All right. And then I'll just follow these all the way up with the ruler. Now that I got all the strips cut out, we can go ahead and start cutting these little pieces. So I'm just gonna line them up here, get it as close as possible, and just start slicing. And this one is a little bit larger than what we actually need, so I'm gonna have to size it down just a tiny bit. But I'm gonna start by just cutting the width, and then I'll flip it and cut the other side, since this side is just a touch larger than we actually need. All right, and there's our first little piece. And I'm also gonna do the little squares. So these little squares add the depth to the tote bag, so I'm gonna also cut those out right now. And then we'll be able to quilt all these little squares later into something like a patchwork tote bag or like a patchwork Kindle sleeve or wallets or something. We can figure out something for these little squares. And there's our first little piece done. So I'm just gonna continue that right the way down through this whole slice, and then we have another one just like this. And then we can move on to the other products like the makeup bags, the mini tote bags. We really got everything in this collection. All right, we do have 2 pieces left over from those weekender totes, which I expected to have. So these are the 2 sizes that we have. And these I think I'm gonna end up using for either our eyeglasses cases or our keychain wallets or Kindle book sleeves. So I'm gonna save these. I'm gonna see how all the other cuts do. And then depending on like how many scraps we have, we can make, you know, keychain wallets, we can make all sorts of different things. So I'm gonna save all these scraps and then we can allocate them to the different products at the end. So I'm just gonna set those aside. And then we also had this piece, we have a huge hole in it, which I do remember this one. Not sure if you can see there, but huge. And so we're gonna have to fix that up. I remember just thinking like, if we end up using all the way to the edge of this part, then we'll have to fix that. But I didn't really realize that we would be using it. So I'm gonna have to fix that up. It is massive. So I'm just gonna set that here and keep on cutting. Our next one is gonna be mini tote bags. So really excited for those. I think we have either 3 or 4 mini tote bags. So this will be good. All right, got all those cut out. And here's our final scalloped piece that I just left. This, I'm thinking we can turn into wallets. We could do sunglasses cases, pencil cases, but that's about all that we could do with this. And then our other scraps, we could do the Kindle and book sleeves. So this one, I think I'm just gonna move down 1, 2, 3, 4.5, maybe to here, and just try and get as many. Maybe we'll get as many wallets as possible out of this, and then we'll do sunglasses cases out of those, because this one is just so variable that I'm gonna have to cut it like almost exact for all of these, and it's just gonna be kind of a pain if I try and do anything else. Okay, so we have some of the smaller pieces and some of the larger pieces, and it just depends like how it's able to cut nice. So these go together and these go together. So now I'll cut the other side of it, so then we have the size for our wallets. There we go. So we have total of 2, and this one, I don't know if that'll work out nice, but so we have 2 wallets so far. This will be our 3rd. And now let's see, I mean, we'll probably get quite a bit out of this actually. All right, got all those cut out, and now our next part of this is gonna be using all of these scraps, which we can definitely turn into something. So let's start here. I'm thinking these smaller ones we could do, this would actually work really good as a keychain wallet. So I'm gonna save that one. Maybe, let's try this one. I'm trying to find one that would be good for a sunglasses case. Actually, maybe this one. I've never done a sunglasses case, so I'm kind of like worried about that. Like if we do, I don't know how big to cut it. You know what I mean? And I feel like I want to use this as much as I can. So maybe let's flip this. So here's my idea anyways. I went and got my sunglasses because the whole idea is that this is gonna fold up. We're gonna sew along the sides. It's just like my AirPod cases. And then this top would fold down and there would be a little snap there. And so your sunglasses would just slide right in, which I don't know. But then you're like snapping against your glasses and I don't really like that. So maybe I'll pass on that. And with this, we could just do, oh my gosh, I cannot decide. What about this? You know what, let's go to the size up. I really cannot decide here. Let's see how big these are. Okay, 10. This one we could do 1 regular book sleeve out of. And then this one, I wonder if we could get some Kindle sleeves. Or maybe do Kindle sleeves with this one. Okay, let me just start cutting so that I can't like think about it anymore. Let's go ahead and do 1 Kindle sleeve for this side. And then we still have some scraps left, so we can figure out what to do with that. But at least we'll have this cut out. And let me chop this. That's gonna be so cute. So here's our 1 Kindle sleeve that we can make. I'm gonna set that over on our pile. And now from this, we could do, what else was like, what was our other products that we were gonna make? I can't even remember. I guess from here we could do 1 regular book sleeve. So we could do that. Then this other piece we could actually use to make another Kindle sleeve. Okay, so here's our book sleeve and just these extra little pieces. Then what else do we have? I guess we need pencil cases. We could always do keychain wallets. Let's just cut pencil cases from this one, at least as many as we can get. Okay, so we got 2 from that and we have a little leftover piece. And so I wonder this one if we could get, no. What about this piece? Could we get some from this? Not really. It just doesn't work out as like great measurements. I almost wonder, I'm gonna count how many little squares we have, because if we have enough little squares, we can make a whole scrap tote bag. And I would rather do that than like make all these little pieces into like something else. So let's count 1, 2, 6, 7, 11, 12, 16, 17, 24, which I know is for one side we need 24. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need 20 more pieces that are these little squares in order to make a small scrap tote, which I kind of want to do. So first, I actually want to use this. I saved this little piece just so we can cut it into little squares. So let's use up this first. Okay, so there's 5 more little squares, so that gives us 9. Let's see what we can get from this. Okay, it looks like just 1, so there's 10. And I'll save these scraps if we want to do something else. Then we're gonna have to use all of these other ones, which we can't use that. Maybe this one. Actually, maybe this one. What were we at, 10? I think it was 10. Okay, here is 17. All right, and now from here, we just need 1 more, I'm pretty sure. Which now that I think about it, we probably don't even need, because we cut squares out of this to make the depth of the tote bag. So I think we'll actually be fine with 23 here. Now I guess let's see what else we can make out of these little pieces. This, I really don't think I can make much. I'll save that. This, I'll just do a wallet. All right, so there's our 1 wallet. And now out of this piece, we could do 1 more pencil case actually. All right, and there we go. So this is all that we have left from the quilt. Really not a lot. We can somehow sew these together and make something out of it. I don't know if it'll be possible, but I'll figure out something to do with those. So now let's go ahead and cut out the liner. I cannot wait to show you guys what colors I got. They match perfectly. All right, so here's what I got. First of all, I wanted to get these 2 only, but they didn't have enough of the green, so I had to substitute it for another color. But regardless, these 2 colors are our very first ones for the liners. Obsessed, by the way. And once we piece everything together, you'll get to see how they all work, and just the colors, they look amazing. So since they didn't have enough green, they only had like 2 yards, I got this beautiful pink. It's a little bit corally than I normally go for. It's more deeper, it's not so bright, it's not so baby, but gorgeous with all of the fabrics. So those are the 3 that I got. We're gonna do straps, liners, everything, pockets, that color. And then to go with them, I also got some thread. I always forget to shop for thread, so these are the 2 that I got, and I'm so glad that I remembered. I already had blue from our last collection, so I'll be able to use that baby blue for the blue that we got. So let's go ahead and get to cutting out all of these liners, and I just need to do some really quick math on because I know we have 4 weekender tote bags, we have 4 mini tote bags, so I just need to figure out how many of each we need to cut out based on how much fabric I got. So we might end up having, we should have at least 1 of every single color for every single product, but then some of them will have 2. Like we could have 2 coral, we could have 2 blue, we probably won't have 2 green, but I'll try and get them as even as possible. All right, I'm now working on the straps here, and same as my last collection that I did, I'm gonna go ahead and add interfacing into these because I just love the thickness that it gives the straps, and it feels so much more durable. So I always cut out my interfacing just a lot tinier. I'll show you. This is it. So I cut it way, way tinier than our actual strap. Oops, I forgot to fold this. And I fold this in half, and this is not for the actual strap. This is just to give me some measurements to go off of, and I'll just lightly press this just so that I know exactly where the middle of the strap is. Okay, then unfold that, and then I'll lay down my interfacing just right along that middle seam, maybe just a tiny bit, like 1/4 inch away from it, just like that. And then I'm gonna fold this part over so that it meets up with that middle seam. Sorry, you can't even see. So I'm gonna fold this over until it meets that middle seam. Then I'm gonna iron all the way down, and this just forces not only the fabric to stay in this position, but then also that interfacing to get ironed onto the fabric, and it just starts that process of thickening up the strap. And I do so much fabric because that also thickens the strap, and so I'm gonna do the other side, just fold it right into the middle. And it's gonna kind of overlap, and that's fine, it'll be fine once we fold it. But yeah, these bags are taking a little bit longer than I expected though, because we're doing a total of 8 bags, and usually I end up doing like 6 or 5 with these kind of quilts, but 8 is quite a bit. And then plus I have, pretty much like 8 makeup bags because we have 4 mini, 4 regular. But the good news is that you guys will have a ton of options, lots of things to shop from for this quilt, so that's the good part. All right, then just folding it over itself. Then we've got 4 layers and 1 layer of interfacing. You could definitely do more layers of interfacing. I just prefer how this looks, and just really iron it down. All right, then I'm gonna take my little bowl of pins and just pin all along. Oh no, it'd be on this side, duh. Pin all along the strap. And I also decided for my size weekender totes, I'm gonna do this strap, but just cut it in half. So this is the full length of the fabric, so it's like 44 inches or something. And I think this will be perfectly fine in half as one strap. So this will be a total of one weekender strap. It'll be like 2 straps in one, but it'll be enough for one weekender tote. So I'm gonna set this over by our sewing machine. I'm gonna keep on ironing all of these. And then once we've done that, we can, I'm trying to think. We'll probably have to pin like our pencil cases and makeup bags and all those sorts of things. But I'm gonna iron for now and just get all these done while the iron's hot. I turned the camera on to say something and now I forgot. Anyways, I don't know, I feel like I've just said everything possible about this quilt and the process. And I've made 2 other videos just like this. And I'm like, what? I don't know. I'm gonna pin, if that's interesting. First, the mini makeup bags. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, 4 of them. And I'm gonna need to cut some more labels. These scissors, by the way, so I got these Kai, is that how you say them? Anyways, they're these really nice scissors, these fabric scissors, and I fully sliced my thumb earlier. It was not good, and I was bleeding for like a really long time. These things are really sharp, but I guess that's good. Anyways, I'll be here for a little bit. I need to cut some labels before I make any of these because I don't have any labels cut out. I also have a video on how I make all my labels. It's like a pretty far ways back on my YouTube channel, but it was like a vlog and then it turned into how I make my labels. I don't know, it's kind of a weird video, but I explain in there how I use the thermal transfer label things that I use. Whatever they're called. The heat transfer sheets, I guess. And then I literally just sew them on. I don't like heat attach them, the labels to the products or anything. I sew them on. And I wish that there was a better way to do this. I was thinking about getting a Cricut. I don't know if any of you have a Cricut, please let me know. Would this work for cutting out these little labels? On the back side, it's pure just fabric, and then on the front, it's like a film that has all of your design on it, but it's like really, really thin. So I'm like assuming it's just fabric, but does Cricut have, I know that they have a board that's made for fabric, but for some reason I worry like while it's cutting it out that it's gonna like make the labels fray weird, or like as you're pulling them off, since they're so tiny, I feel like they're gonna fray weird. I don't know, if anybody cuts out really tiny pieces of fabric with a Cricut, please let me know, because that would be much appreciated. Because then I don't have to do this every single time. And then I wouldn't even have to put the black borders around the labels while I'm printing them out, because the Cricut would just know where to cut, you know? Anyways, yeah, so I'm gonna pin for a little bit. It is currently 3:30, so this is taking me the better part of all day, and we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. It just doesn't feel like it, but we're getting there. Okay, so I just finished our very first batch of sewing, so let me show you everything that I did. So first off, I sewed our straps. As you can tell, super plush, gorgeous. I love them. They're super thick. I just love these new straps that I did with the interfacing. So these ones I'm gonna go ahead and cut in half for the large weekender tote bags, and I guess also for the mini tote bags. So I have all the different colors here. I think the thread looks great on them as well. Here's the pink one. I just did a nice pink thread, and then here's the green one with that green thread. You like can't even see it. I think it looks great. And then on the blue one, I did that light blue. And I also quilted together all of our little squares, since I always put this off for some reason, doing this until like the very end of creating all these quilt products. So I really quick just did this so that we can make it at the same time as all the other tote bags. I just need to cut them to size. Then I did the very first round of sewing for the regular makeup bags, the mini makeup bags, the keychain wallets, and the pencil cases. So that's just adding the first liner, the zipper, and the labels. So I gotta repin those and sew again. And I actually ended up finishing our Kindle and book sleeves. So that's what I have here. and I did different liners for these, and I'll show you in depth about these at the very end. And then I also sewed our pockets. Those are over on the ironing board because I need to iron those. And now we just need to take all of our outer fabrics, which I already cut, and add the straps, the labels, and start assembling everything. I feel like we're slowly getting there. It is, I think, about 6 now, and these products just take so long to make. They're just so precise, especially with these ones, changing out the thread and like making sure that everything goes well, and especially with working with fabric that you can't just like cut more of. You have to like truly measure 3 times and then cut. So I'm gonna continue into our next step of all of these products and just keep on working all night pretty much. And then I'll probably talk next tomorrow morning when I'm like a little bit closer to finishing all these products, because then I'll have more of an update for you. The next couple steps will literally just be adding everything onto them. They won't even be, you know, like usable products yet. So I'm just gonna keep on working down the line and continuing using this quilt. But I'm loving how they're turning out. I love the color combos. I think they look great. I'm really glad that I chose the blue, green, and coral. It's now a few days later. I can't quite remember where we left off, but I do have everything right here, and this is apparently where we left off. So let's see what we got. So it looks like we've got our liners here. I hope we already added the pockets. I think we did. Oh, we finished the Kindle and the book sleeve. I do remember this because they turned out so cute. Just love those. All right, so we have 1 makeup bag. Okay, another one. We have 2 mini makeup bags. What is this? Pencil case, 4 wallets, another makeup bag. Wow, we have a lot of makeup bags. Sorry, it's been a couple days. Okay, more wallets, more pencil cases. It's been a couple days since I looked at all of these, so it's like, I'm trying to remind myself what I was doing here. Okay, even more makeup bags. Okay, here we go, tote bags. Hopefully at the very bottom here, these are all pocket attached. Yes, awesome. Okay, so we can go ahead and start pinning these 2 sides together to actually make the bag. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then I'm also gonna pin this other side of the makeup bags. Wow, these are really cute. Like, having not looked at these for a little while, I'm looking back at them, I'm like, wow, these are really, really cute. I love the green. Oh my gosh. And the coral and the blue. Oh my gosh, these are cute. Maybe this is like good for me. Just take a little break and forget what you're working on, and then come back, and then you can kind of see if you really like it or not. All right, let me go ahead and pin our next round. Oops. For all of these. Yeah, we should be able to finish these by tonight. I'm really excited. I'm gonna get straight to it. Okay, everything here is pinned, and I'm actually gonna have to remind myself what thread I did green. Yes, so I have green thread. I think I did light blue thread, and then, oh yeah, I do have a coral. Okay, I'm telling you guys, I somehow forgot everything within the past 2 days, so I'm gonna go ahead and sew up all of these. Also, while I'm doing that, I don't know if you guys prefer to do this, but sometimes when I get to this step of like a wallet, oh, sorry. But when I get to this step of a wallet or a pencil case or laptop sleeve or anything that's like the final step where I need to flip it next, usually I just do that at the sewing machine, and then I just sew the hole and then it's done. So then I don't have to like set this aside and then cut off the zipper and flip it and do all that and then come back to the sewing machine. I just do it while I'm sitting right here. So all of these will be done for the next part of the sewing step. So that'll be all the wallets and all the pencil cases. And then all of the liners and the outers for the tote bags will be boxed out. And then the makeup bags will have a couple more steps because those take a really long time. But what I meant to say though was I was reading through some YouTube comments, and one of them that I got on my recent like new collection videos where I take you along for creating like limited edition one-of-a-kind collections out of brand new fabric was this one. It says, the beauty of creating is you do not have to conform to norms. And that is like exactly what I'm trying to convey with all of these upcycle quilts and new collections and just everything, is that you don't have to follow the norm and you can do things completely different, and that's totally fine. And I just thought that that was such a good way of putting it. It's very simple, but it's meaningful, and it just clicked with me. I don't know. So if you left that comment, thank you so much, because you put into words what I have been trying to say, basically. Like, I don't want my small business to be like other small businesses. I want to do things that are different. I want to experiment. I want to learn, and I want to share it with you guys. So that's the whole point of this YouTube journey. Anyways, with that said, I'm going to make our tote bags, our pencil cases, wallets, makeup bags, all those good things, and just sew them up really quick. I think we should be able to finish these tonight. I hope so. I really just got like down to business, got everything done, and here we are. The quilt is completely done, made into so many new products for you guys to enjoy. So let me go through all the different things that I made. Let's start off with just what's right in front of me. These are the cutest things that I've ever made. First off, we have 4 mini makeup bags. All of these are a little bit different. So these are all the different fronts and sides and the backs. And then the inside we have, I think we have 2 blue. Okay, here's one, baby blue. And then we also have 1 coral. I don't even remember what all these are. Oh, we have 1 green. So it's like I have an option for everyone. And then I think this one's blue. Yes. So we have 2 blue, 1 green, 1 coral, which I think is kind of the same pattern throughout all these different products. We have 2 blue, 1 green, 1 coral, because we didn't have as much fabric for green and coral as we did for blue, if I remember right from 2 days ago. So going down the line, we also have normal size makeup bags. So we have these 2. Here's the front and the back. These ones were made out of scraps, so it's just like whatever I had left. This one is a coral on the inside, and I love that the inside fabric always matches with the outside. This one's a light blue. Then we have 2 more. Here's this one. This one's so cute. I love this. And then for the inside of this one is just a plain light blue. And then this one's gotta be green. So here's the outside of this one and the back. And these all have like the regular pull tabs, the nice durable bulky zippers. Everything is the same about them, just the same as my normal makeup bags. So if you've ever purchased one of my regular makeup bags, they're gonna be the exact same, just with the quilt and limited edition liner fabric. But there's all of our regular size makeup bags. Then we can move right along into all the tote bags, which we have so many. So first off, we have 2 of the regular, or not regular, this is Weekender. 2 of the Weekender totes with the light blue on the inside. So here's how it looks from the outside. And then on the inside, we have a 10 by 10 pocket to hold like your phone, keys, cash, anything that you want to take with you on the go, but you don't want it to get lost in your tote bag. And then here's how it looks on the shoulder. Sorry, let me adjust here. I'm telling you, these Weekender totes are gigantic. They will hold everything for you for your entire weekend. So we have 1 of the blue, or I mean 2. Let me find the other one. Okay, here's the other one. Here's the front and the back. So gorgeous. I just love all the different colors. We have 2 of the mini tote bags in the color blue. So these are the 2 different bags, and all of these will be listed separately so you can choose exactly which one you like, because they are a little bit different. Although they don't look like it, they are a little bit different on the outside, but the inside and the straps are the exact same between them. We have 1 mini tote bag with the coral. I don't really know why I call this coral, actually. It's more like a pink than anything. But once again, with like the interfacing on the straps, feels so nice. Here's how the mini tote bag looks on the shoulder. It is just the perfect size for on the go and carrying your little things. It's just adorable. This one has a 9 by 9 pocket on the inside. All the mini totes do. So just a tiny, tiny bit smaller than the Weekender tote, but still great for holding all your little things on the go. We also have a light pink in the Weekender size, so here's how that one looks. And the back side of that one, once again, pocket on the inside, looks so cute on the shoulder. Really makes this pink on here pop as well. Especially on camera, it looks so cute. I'm gonna save this tote bag for last because that one's my favorite, but here is the light green one. Yeah, this is my favorite. If I were to keep one, it would be one of the green ones, probably the next one that I'm gonna show you, but this one is the large light green Weekender tote once again with a pocket on the inside. I can't even express how much I love this one. The fact that the outside quilt is very like cottage core, I think the green really brings that out in it, and it just makes for the cutest tote bag. Absolutely love the green. I wish that I did more, but here is one of my absolute favorites. This one is the scrap tote bag that I did of all the different corners from the other tote bags. So it's truly one of a kind. I will never have one like this again. And the straps are a little bit shorter, so it'll be a good like over the arm bag. It'd be a little bit short as a shoulder bag, but if you prefer, you know, like a little bit of a shorter bag, it would be great for that. You can definitely just carry this as you're at the farmer's market, as you're grocery shopping, anywhere. But so adorable. Once again, has the pocket on the inside. So cute. And this one is also very structured just because of the scrap work that I did. It's really gonna hold up for you. So absolutely love this one. It is definitely one of my favorite tote bags that I've made. Okay, moving right along, we have the Kindle and book sleeve that I made. So up first, this is the Kindle sleeve. This will fit all your different e-readers in here. You can also add like your pens, highlighters, your little sticky notes, anything that you want to take with you on the go. Headphones, you can just fit them right in there. And on the inside, it is that baby blue, which is like the common theme throughout this one is I did a lot of baby blue. So I wanted to keep that going for just like these single products so that if you got a light blue tote, you could also get this to match it. Then for our regular size book sleeve, so if you've purchased one of my book sleeves before, this is size medium. So it'll be the exact same size. And I just love how plush and like quilted, I guess, this feels. It is so nice and protective. And on the inside, I did that green. This is gonna be so hard for me not to keep it. And then here's the back side of that. So beautiful. And this is great for your physical books, your journals, anything for on the go that you wanna keep protected. Then we have lots of wallets and lots of pencil cases. These right now are just organized by color on the inside. So like these top ones are gonna be light blue. And like we also have different pencil cases. This one's probably also light blue. I can't quite remember, but I sewed them all in batches of the color on the inside. But in all the different listings on my website, they will have the color that's on the inside. So you can shop by color, you can shop by the outer fabric, and they're all truly one of a kind, very unique. And usually these wallets are one of the first to go from these collections just because of the price point and just how useful they are. Like you can truly fit anything in here. And then the pencil and glasses cases, I am assuming that these are gonna go very, very fast in this collection because I rarely do pencil and glasses cases in these quilt collections. So I think they're gonna be one of the first to go. So if you want one, snag one because they're very limited. I don't have very many. That is all that I made from this quilt. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do have 2 other upcycle quilt videos that you can watch, and I have a few more coming as well. So if you are a little bit late to this video and everything is already sold out, be sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram. I always post sneak peeks on there of upcoming launches so you can snag the next one. But with that, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Mwah. Bye.